Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. And today we have another video from Swagkage, this one explaining one of my favorite Naruto techniques ever, the Reanimation Jutsu. So let's go ahead and watch the video and not waste any more time.
So today I'm going to be looking at what is without a doubt the most complicated ninjutsu in the entire Naruto universe. Kuchiyose Edo Tensei, or Summoning Impure World Reincarnation, is an S-class forbidden technique created by Tobirama Senju and is a derivative of the summoning technique. The idea behind the jutsu is very simple. Its purpose is essentially to bring a dead person back to life. In execution though, it's a lot more complicated than that. As the name implies, and as I mentioned earlier, this technique is derived from the summoning jutsu, which means that the person being brought back to life has to be summoned to the world of the living. Now, I'll probably talk more about the details of the summoning technique in another video, but one of the key traits of the summoning technique that makes using it to bring someone back from the dead so complicated is the fact that generally, when a person or animal is summoned, they have to have a contract with their summoner. Obviously, you can't exactly discuss making one of these contracts with somebody who isn't alive, but luckily there's a workaround for that. In place of a summoning contract, a user of this technique needs a sample of the DNA of the person they wish to summon. The amount of DNA needed to revive a person isn't substantial at all and can be anything as small as a sample of that person's blood. The biggest issue a user of the technique will often run into is that a living sacrifice must be made in order to use.
So when it comes to the requirement to sacrifice being that you need their DNA, see, that's actually one of the reasons why this technique is so difficult to use, is because if you don't have the DNA of that person, then you can't summon them. So that's why I think Kabuto said that it was difficult to summon Danzo and Shisui because he couldn't find their bodies. Which doesn't really make a lot of sense, because if he somehow found Madara's body, how could he not find Shisui or Danzo or even Jiraiya? Because Jiraiya, he said he wanted to bring him back, but he couldn't find his body. Which again is weird. Like, if you found Madara, how the hell did you not find, or how the hell could you not find Jiraiya? It's just a little bit of a inconsistent writing from Kishimoto.
Issue a user of the technique will often run into is that a living sacrifice must be made in order to use it. Without a body to roam around in, the summoned soul can't really do much, so as Kabuto said, a living sacrifice is needed so that their body can be used as a vessel for the dead person being summoned. So once a person has gathered everything they need for the Impure World reincarnation, the technique's ritual can begin. The ritual is very similar to rituals seen in standard summoning techniques, as it involves a scroll and the smearing of blood or DNA of some sort on that scroll. Once the summoner activates this scroll, the remains of the person used to summon them spread out in the form of a seal around the person being sacrificed, and this is where the magic happens. A bunch of dust and ash will cling to the sacrifice's body, at which point they are effectively turned into the person being summoned. Their personality, chakra, appearance, and anything else of the sort are all replaced by the revived persons, at which point the ritual is complete. From this point forward, the summoner has complete control over the person they revived. Now, initially, when Tobirama first created the technique, reanimated shinobi ended up being much weaker than they were when they were alive. Additionally, there was a cap on how many ninja Tobirama could control at any given time, and both of these flaws together significantly limited the potential of the technique. When Orochimaru mastered the technique, he did his best to make the flaws less significant, but it wasn't until Kabuto mastered the Edo Tensei that both flaws were eliminated completely. There's no limit to how many reanimated people Kabuto can control at any given time, and Kabuto's reanimated shinobi are much more powerful than Tobirama's were. Granted, Kabuto's reanimations are still slightly weaker than their living counterparts, but the issue is nowhere near as bad as it used to be. One drawback that no user of the technique has been able to get rid of is the fact that to reanimate a person, their soul has to be resting inside of the Pure Land, which is essentially the Naruto afterlife. Now, generally, everybody's soul goes there after they die, but there are some rare exceptions where this isn't the case. For example, Kabuto was not able to summon the first 4 Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village because each of their souls had been trapped inside of the belly of the Grim Reaper. Now,
exactly. See, and another example would be Orochimaru, because his soul was trapped inside the Totsuka blade when he got stabbed by Itachi, so he wouldn't be able to bring him back. Now, Orochimaru found a workaround through sealing part of his chakra in the curse mark that he would give out to people, and he was able to sort of circumvent that. He found other ways to bring him back because the guy was obsessed with immortality.
That said, the technique's flaws are offset by its many advantages. A user of the technique has control over every reanimated person they summon. The degree of control a summoner has over their reanimated shinobi is completely up to them as well. A reanimation's free will and personality can both be left intact, effectively allowing them to do whatever they want with no restrictions. Both the free will and personality of the reanimation can be completely eradicated, giving the summoner complete control over all of their actions. They can leave a person's personality intact but take away their free will, effectively putting them in a state where they are programmed to do as the summoner wishes but still have the same thoughts and feelings as they did while they were alive, and so on and so forth. Furthermore, reanimated shinobi will have access to every single ability they had when they were alive, even if those abilities are not originally theirs. For example, Nagato was revived with his Rinnegan intact despite the fact that those Rinnegan belonged to Madara. What's even more surprising about that is that Kabuto revived Madara and Nagato at the same time, and both of them had access to their Rinnegan abilities. On top of that, reanimations have infinite chakra and can regenerate from any and all injuries. The only way to fully defeat a reanimated person is to seal them away or force the person who summoned them to release the reanimation jutsu. So with this technique, what you have access to is a potentially endless army of the most powerful shinobi in all of history who have been turned into immortal zombies with infinite chakra. They can even be left on autopilot so you don't have to do any work yourself. It goes without saying, but this technique is really hacks OP. Quite possibly the most broken ability in the entire Naruto universe.
And Obito, what he said here is a nice bit of foreshadowing from Kishimoto. He says, "This technique sounds too good to be true. It must have some risk." Yeah, it did. And Madara proved what that risk actually is.
That said, it does have two crippling flaws. The first is that reanimations can still be affected by genjutsu. Now, at face value, this isn't too terrible, but with certain super powerful genjutsu, it's possible to turn a reanimated person against their summoner. For example, Itachi Uchiha used the Eye of Shisui Uchiha to cast a genjutsu on himself with Koto Amatsu Kami. This genjutsu forced Itachi to follow a single order, and that order was to protect the Hidden Leaf Village. This genjutsu completely cut off Kabuto's control over Itachi, and eventually led Itachi to fight Kabuto alongside his brother Sasuke. The two Uchiha brothers won the battle, and Itachi even ended up forcing Kabuto to release the reanimation jutsu. The technique's second crippling flaw is that if a summoned person knows the hand seals to Impure World reincarnation, they can perform those hand seals to cut off their connection with their summoner. This gives them complete control over all of their actions and all of the bonuses of being a reanimated person. You know, being an immortal zombie with infinite chakra and all that. As Mamoru Uchiha said when he released the reanimation jutsu on himself, "Tell whoever the summoner is, he shouldn't use a forbidden technique so carelessly."
Dude, this is, I'm not gonna lie, when this happened, I thought, Jesus fucking Christ, like, how are you supposed to stop this guy? Like, I mean, the guy was already broken enough on his own, and now he's immortal, has limitless chakra, and he's in complete control. He doesn't have someone controlling him. I mean, this is just, it was insane.
But that's where I'm going to wrap things up. I think I've touched on pretty much every base of the reanimation jutsu.
So, sorry, I forgot to ask, but let me know, what did you guys think of this moment when you either first read it in the manga or first saw it in the anime? Just really curious to know what you guys thought.
Touched on pretty much every base of the reanimation jutsu, though if I left anything out, feel free to ask any questions in the comments below. Like always, if you have anything you want me to talk about in the future, then just leave it down in the comments below, and if I like it enough, I'll get to it in a future video. Thank you guys for watching to the end. Hope you guys have a fantastic day, and if you're new here, make sure to subscribe and leave a like. Talk to you guys later, everybody. Swagkage out. Bye.
Okay, so there it is. That's the video. And yeah, the reanimation jutsu, it's like he said, it is one of the most useful techniques that anyone can have in their arsenal, but it's like he said, it does carry some risks. For example, one of them, like he said, they're so susceptible to genjutsu, and also if the person you bring back knows the hand signs to the Edo Tensei, then they can rescind the contract and you're left with a problem. You know, immortal body, limitless chakra, without any way to control it. And it's even worse if the person who did that is someone like Madara, or imagine if someone like Hashirama did it. Well, with Hashirama, it wouldn't really be a problem because it's Hashirama. But imagine if someone really powerful, like let's say someone brought back Indra. If someone brought back Indra, which I don't think it's possible because he died a long time ago, and I don't think there's anyone in this time who has any access to his DNA, which you need, like it was established, that it's necessary to bring someone back. You actually need their DNA, and you need a sacrifice to use them to bring them back. So, but hypothetically, if someone were to bring him back And if, let's say, he were to learn what the hand signs are for the reanimation, he could rescind it, and you're left with a problem. He can run around now with just no one capable of being able to stop him. Well, there are some now who could, but I imagine it's probably not going to be easy. Anyway, with that being said, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, I will leave a link to this video as well as Swag's channel in the description box down below. Go check him out. And I hope to talk to you soon. Bye for now.